Welcome to America's Day at the Races. We have 3 Kentucky Derby preps ahead. It is brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Welcome to America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. I'm Greg Wolf. For anyone who gets involved in this game at any level, the dream is to get into that starting gate the first Saturday in May for the Kentucky Derby. For the connections of 3 thoroughbreds this afternoon, that dream will become a reality. Major preps from Florida, New York, and right here in Southern California at Santa Anita. With me, Hall of Famer Gary Stevens, Jonathan Kinchin, former 2015 NHC Tour champion, going to make us some money today. Gary, you don't usually see this in the San Felipe. Bob Baffert, 2-time Triple Crown winning trainer, 2 undefeated horses going against each other in this race. You usually like to split them up, but he's so loaded this year, he doesn't have that option.
Yeah, Bob loves to keep his horses separated at this time of the year, but I'll tell you what, he's got these horses lined up like fighter jets on an aircraft carrier right now, ready to take off, so he's got to run a couple of them together at this stage of the game.
3 preps all across the country. Who are you looking forward to seeing most?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Authentic run here. I want to see if he kind of grows up a little bit. He was a little goofy last time, but that's okay. Young horses, that happens. I'm excited about seeing him, and I think the Tampa Bay Derby is going to be a war. There's a lot of really good horses in there. Whoever wins that race is a serious Derby contender.
Authentic, undefeated, but yeah, I think a lot of eyeballs going to be on him. He was zigzagging all over the stretch in his last victory for Bob Baffert, so we'll see what happens this afternoon. Our race schedule, it is brought to you by America's Best Racing. We're going to be all over the country this afternoon, racing from New York, from Hot Springs, Arkansas. We have a rematch in last year's Spring Fever between Whitmore, one of the top sprinters in the country, and a horse he beat in that race last year. Track conditions are brought to you by Naira Bets. Get signed up, started, bet anytime, anywhere. Great conditions everywhere we're going to be this afternoon. And a $200 deposit match when you get signed up and started with Naira Bets. Use the promo code Big A at sign up at twice your original deposit in 30 days and receive your initial deposit back up to $200. Again, use that promo code Big A to get signed up and started with NairaBets.com. One of our 3 Kentucky Derby preps coming up from South Ozone Park today at Aqueduct in the Gotham. We check in now with New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling. Hi, Andy.
Hi, Greg. I've never missed Maggie as much as I miss her right now as I'm standing out in the elements. Actually, a very, very nice day at Aqueduct. We've been treated to an excellent day of racing. Our 4th and final stake coming up, of course, the big one. It's the Grade 3 Gotham, and it is a fascinating race, 11 horses going to post. The number 6, Mischievous Alex, is the horse to beat. But Mischievous Alex really had the run of the race last time when he was in front, and he was really able to control the pace. And one of the reasons was the 10 Untitled having trouble to start, and we'll get to him. Mischievous Alex ran very, very well. His connections won a stake earlier in the card with Diamond King, and he's the one to beat, but he's going to have to deal with a lot more pace pressure today, which could be troublesome for him. I'm interested in a long shot in this race, and that's the number 5, Necker Island. Necker Island showed promise for trainer Stan Huff, and some may remember that watched this show. We talked about this horse in his debut when he ran impressively behind 3 Technique, and he actually ran well that day, and he showed the kind of promise that a 2-year-old shows, that with routine improvement, he could be a top 3-year-old. He did not run well in his return behind Mischievous Alex, but he was caught wide and really had no chance in a race that was dominated on the front end. He's a big price, and I'm looking for a big price in a very competitive Gotham. Now back towards the outside, the 10 Untitled, who's an enormous price at 9-1 right now. Expect him to come down from those odds. Untitled was eliminated at the break in the swale behind Mischievous Alex, and he lost all chance. Not only was he taken out of his running style, but that race was run very favorably for front runners. And Untitled lost all chance. He came back 13 days later and ran a game second around 2 turns at Tampa behind Governor Morris, who a lot of people think is a real Kentucky Derby contender for trainer Todd Pletcher. He ran well that day. Now he comes up. He draws a favorable outside post, and he could be the controlling speed. The concern with him, and I'm interested what the guys in the studio think, is can Untitled come back just 3 weeks after running at Tampa and run well in his 3rd race in just 35 days?
Well, we will find out. He went against probably Todd Pletcher's best Derby hopeful in Gouverneur Morris, who was 0.2 of a second off the track record in that Tampa Bay race. What do you guys think?
That's a deep racetrack as well. So Andy brings up a great point about the quick comeback. I mean, that's something you have to keep in mind. He's drawn outside. I think that he should be able to try to avoid getting into a speed duel here, getting hooked up too much. He'll be able to take back. Junior can do what he kind of wants there, but it definitely is a quick turnaround.
Untitled for Mark Cassidy. It's going to be his 4th career start. Just missed against Gouverneur Morris for Todd Pletcher at Tampa Bay in his most recent effort. As we look at the Kentucky Derby leaderboard, Ete Indian for Patrick Biancone. He is at the top of the list after his performance in the Fountain of Youth. And Biancone, of course, has Sol Volante in the Tampa Bay Derby this afternoon. It seems like he is loaded this year.
Yeah, he is loaded. And Sol Volante, he loved Tampa Bay Downs last time out and gets back on that track this afternoon.
We're going to take a break. We'll be back. First of 3 Kentucky Derby prep races on the way. The Grade 3 Gotham one-turn mile from Aqueduct. Coming up next on America's Day at the Races.
All of them have pretty good minds. We're all pretty happy with their minds and how they react to things and how smart they are and pick up what we want them to do very well and very quickly. And, you know, most of them have very good temperaments like he did, and, you know, most of them are showing some speed, so we're pretty happy with the way they all are.
Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match with promo code Big A at NairaBets.com.
Orb, winner of the Kentucky Derby and Florida Derby. His runners have scored on both dirt and turf. His recent stakes success includes Mrs. Orb, winner of the Bay Ridge Stakes at Aqueduct, Pippin Stakes victorious Whoa Nelly, and Derlou, a determined runner-up in the Grade 3 La Cañada Stakes at Santa Anita, classic winner, classic pedigree, or standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2, we take you to Oldsmar, Florida, Grade 2 Tampa Bay Derby on the road to the Kentucky Derbies. We start with Texas Swing, one of 3 in the race for Todd Pletcher.
Yeah, and he's coming off of a maiden victory last time out where he took him gate to wire. Javier Castellano taking over for Johnny Velasquez today.
And one of 3 in the race for Pletcher, who has won this race 5 times before. This is son of Curlin, and we'll have the inside post 15-1 on the board. We will see Spa City next. Kieran McLaughlin and a son of a Kentucky Derby winner, Street Sense.
I'm shocked Irad didn't come up for this one. This horse, his last race at 1 mile and 8 was very impressive. Small little cutback here. I think this 2-horse Spa City could be very, very dangerous and a very nice price at 7-1.
He was 10-1 on the morning line. You see 7-1 right now. Relentless Dancer, the 3 for Mike Maker, and brings some speed.
Brings some speed. He's a big price today. He's coming out at the Grade 3 Holy Bowl last time out. It was won by Tizelaw, but he faded late to be beaten 18 lengths that day.
Chance It scratched out of the Fountain of Youth. Didn't want that outside post. Horse with the outside post, Ete Indian, wound up winning it.
Yeah, I don't know if they regret that decision or not, but he's got a nice post now. You just got to make sure he doesn't get stuck buried down on the rail.
Won his 3-year-old debut in the Mucho Macho Man. The 5 market analysis, another Todd Pletcher runner, won first time out.
And the connections here, Windstar Farm and China Horse Club. Johnny Velasquez, this is the one he picks off of that maiden race last time out for Todd Pletcher.
Another Mike Maker runner, Mosa, son of Uncle Mo.
Couple clicks away from 100-1. You don't see that very often. I respect Mike Maker. I don't see this horse getting the job done here.
It'll be his first on dirt. Here is Sol Volante, winner of the Sam F. Davis.
Winner of the Sam F. Davis, and his race prior to that, Mucho Macho Man Stakes, third, beaten 2 1/4 to Chance It.
Let Me Know, trained by Ian Wilkes. He said this is a real hard-knocking horse who's really improving.
Yeah, as a horse finished 3rd in that Gouverneur Morris race that we mentioned earlier, he's going to have to improve to win this race.
And another Todd Pletcher runner. This is Unrighteous Son of Violence. He is still a maiden.
Still a maiden. Blinkers are going on. He's getting bet right now. He's 20-1 on the morning line. Joe Bravo aboard. He's 10-1.
Bye Bye Melvin, 35-1, trained by Graham Motion. He actually broke his maiden on the turf.
Yeah, it was a little bit funny acting at the gate last time. If you're interested in betting on this horse, keep an eye on that when they get to the post.
The 11, King Guillermo, another one who broke his maiden on the turf. He did so by more than 6 lengths back in November.
Right, and he was beaten 11 lengths the one time that he tried sprinting on the dirt.
And another maiden in the race on the outside. Tons of gold blinkers go on today.
Drawn in the very far outside is going to have to get better to win this race.
So Derby prep at Tampa and a Derby prep happening right now in the Grade 3 Gotham 1-turn mile at Aqueduct as we take a look at Montauk Traffic, trained by Linda Rice, coming in off back-to-back wins and now going a mile for the first time.
I loved his last race. It was an unusual race. He got shuffled back around the turn. He hit traffic coming into the lane, really had nowhere to go. Jose Lascano had to swing out around horses. He ran all the way through the stretch on his wrong lead and still drew off and won quite easily.
It's become a theme kind of in North American racing. Being down on the inside is not exactly where you want to be. Montauk Traffic, his last 2 races, was buried down on the inside. Now he draws to the outside. This is my top pick here. I think he's got a big shot at 5-1.
Meanwhile, Warstopper, Gary, trained by Rudy Rodriguez, big maiden win last start.
Huge maiden win. It was his 5th start of his life, and he jumped forward. Blinkers were added that day, and he ran about 20 lengths faster that day. He's interesting. He's a good-looking horse that finishes strong, so one I'd keep my eye on. That's a little bit of a price here at 12-1.
That was a look at him right before he loads up. The 6th, though, the favorite, no question. His last 2 starts won by a combined 16 3/4 lengths and made his connections rethink should he in fact be on the Derby trail. They thought him more as a shorter distance specialist, maybe a mile at his best, but they weren't thinking a mile and a quarter. We'll see if those plans change with a win here. It's the Grade 3 Gotham on the road to the Kentucky Derby. Here's John Imbrial with the call.
And they're off in the Gotham. And Mischievous Alex came away well and is going out for the early lead. On the outside is Untitled. And in between horses there, and coming on through now, is Warstopper. And then down at the rail, it is Informative. At the fence, it's Celtic Striker. Up the backstretch, Warstopper is the leader. Celtic Striker runs in second. Mischievous Alex is now back in third. On the outside is Untitled, who's racing in fourth. Informative is fifth. That is Flapjack in sixth, as Attachment Rate moves up in between horses from seventh. And then it's Necker Island in eighth. Far outside is First Deputy in ninth. Montauk Traffic runs in 10th, and a break of 4 to Sixto, who trails the field in 11th. The 3-year-olds head for the far turn, the quarter in 23 2, the half mile in 47 1. Mischievous Alex is now up to Polka, nose in front. Down on the inside is Warstopper. Untitled has gained ground. Then Long Shots, Flapjack, and First Deputy. Warstopper now drops out of it, passed there by Attachment Rate and Necker Island. 3 of them across as they come for the top of the stretch. It is Mischievous Alex, Untitled, and on the outside, it's Flapjack. Mischievous Alex down at the rail, trying to hang in there for another 1/8 of a mile. It is Mischievous Alex. Attachment Rate is gaining from the back of the pack. Untitled is there. Then Flapjack. On the outside is Sixto. Mischievous Alex has a 3-length lead, and he's going to win the Grade 3 Gotham. Mischievous Alex. It was close for second between Untitled and Attachment Rate. The mile in 1:38 4.
Mischievous Alex, he's now won 3 in a row, and his connections have a real decision to make if they want to continue on to that first Saturday in May. They originally thought a mile might be his best, but very good at a mile today.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I like this horse's last 2 races. When he won the Swell, he was down inside. He was challenged early, and then he draws off, wins by 7. Splits horse is going down the backside today and comes into the stretch with a nice lead here, under pressure, but he responds to the pressure that he's under.
Yeah, it wasn't an easy trip at all. He was pressured the entire way, and if you look at Warstopper, he's way back there in the back, and he was up there with him early in the race. So, look, he just kept extending. No one was really even getting to him. I think that you definitely have to take a chance at a mile and 1/8 in either the Florida Derby as a connections that are based down there, or come back up here for the Wood.
Yeah, that would be April the 4th. He's very quick, too, and this time he didn't even go to the front, sat back a little bit, and showed a bit of a new dimension. So Mischievous Alex, now 3 consecutive wins since he's put blinkers on. He's been a very, very good horse as we look back at the start.
Yeah, he gets away from there clean. There was a lot of speed early on, and he did show a new dimension today, completely different dimension, coming from slightly off of it. Made the lead early on at the half-mile pole, but the thing I liked about this colt is he's steady. He just keeps running. He keeps trying.
Meanwhile, post 8, Montauk traffic, all kinds of problems at the beginning.
Yeah, a little bit of trouble, but you know what? He had no excuse when they turned for home. He was lugging in, and he looked like he was going to, he had a chance to run him down, and he never really picked up his feet to go. I don't know, Gary, I don't know if you saw him in the stretch, but he looked like he was looking at the grandstand or something.
Yeah, he wasn't paying attention a whole lot. And in his last race that he won, I told you, when he came into the stretch, he was on his wrong lead in the last race also.
Standing by with a winning trainer, let's go to Andy Serling.
Thanks a lot, guys. John, congratulations. Impressive win for Mischievous Alex.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Stretched out well, took some pressure, and he drew off.
Yeah, he ran really good. I mean, I didn't really notice what they came home in, but when he shook those horses off at the head of the lane, I was feeling pretty good.
Sounds like a solid race. Are you looking forward to maybe stretching him out in our Wood Memorial?
Well, I think Chuck and I will talk about it and with the other partners and see what's the best direction to go.
All right, thanks for your time, John. Congratulations, and look forward to the Derby.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Andy, thanks. Of course, John Service, he has a little bit of history on the road to the Kentucky Derby with Smarty Jones, who won a Derby for him. Now, this horse, you would have to be awfully tempted to keep going along this path, even though they think he's probably best at up to a mile.
Look, hey, they're going to drink the juice, the Derby fever juice. It's going to seep into them, and they have to give him a try, either back in the Wood or the Florida Derby. He's won on both surfaces now. He handled the ship in for this race. He won impressively. I know if I was part of the Connections, I would want to at least see what he does going a mile and 1/8, and then you make that decision.
Right, and the 3-year-old program fits this decision perfectly, right? They try him in the Wood going a mile and 1/8. If it doesn't go the way they want, they've got the Pat Day Mile on Kentucky Derby undercard, or they can look to like something like the Woody Stevens on Belmont undercard.
There is an inquiry involving your third place finisher, unofficially with 6'10", 4 and 8. That is attachment rate the 4 who finished third in the race. So we'll keep you posted on whether there's any changes in the Grade 3 Gotham as we take you to Tampa Bay for the Grade 2 Tampa Bay Derby and our 6-5 favorite, Sol Volante for Patrick Biancone. And this horse in the Sam F. Davis, he was so far out of the mix in this race, he wasn't on the screen for most of it.
But I think that kind of helped them out, Gary. I mean, they ran early in that race, and the pace was more than honest. I'd say it was pretty fast. And I think being far back there kind of fell right into his hands.
And I think he'll have plenty of pace to run out again today with Chancet back in there, who we mentioned did win the Mucho Macho Man. But when he beat him last time, he was so far back, Sol Volante was, behind Chancet, and he still closed at the end of that race in the Mucho Macho Man to only be beaten 2 lengths. So I think he steps forward again today. And 7-5, I think that's right where he should be.
You know, Patrick Biancone had told Luca Panici, who's injured, he won't ride today. Florent Giroux will take over. But in the Sam F. Davis, he said, let him sleep a little, let him relax, and then at the 3/8 pole, let him run. He really slept early, and it worked out for him.
Yeah, it did, and I think he's going to get the same type of ride today from Florent Giroux aboard today for the first time. But interesting, Luca Panici, he's got a broken collarbone, and collarbones generally take 5 to 6 weeks, so he should be back in plenty of time to ride one of the 2 Biancone horses if both of them continue on the Kentucky Derby trail, depending on what happens today.
Now, in that Sam F. Davis, Sol Volante, he beat the previously undefeated Independence Hall. He passed on this race. He's looking at the Florida Derby at the end of the month. As for Todd Pletcher, we mentioned he has 3 runners in the Tampa Bay Derby. He's won this race 5 times before. He'll have 3 chances to try and win it this afternoon. JK, of his 3 entrants, who do you like the best?
I like market analysis. You know, I thought that he ran really well on debut, going 7 furlongs on the undercard of the Pegasus World Cup. And winning at 7 first out is not easy. And I know they think a lot of this horse. And like you saw earlier from the graphic, Todd Pletcher knows how to win this race.
Meanwhile, Chancet, from post 4 for Safi Joseph Jr. We mentioned he scratched out of the Fountain of Youth, didn't want that outside post. Horse who wound up with the outside post. Ete Indienne wound up winning that race anyway. So here was sort of the audible for Chance It. And we shall see. Won his 3-year-old debut against Open Company. He's 4 for 6 in his career. Safi Joseph said this is the best horse he has ever had in his career. He was in tears when he broke his maiden by 9.5 lengths in the second start out for him. Market analysis, one of the Pletchers, being a little obstinate. He moves in line. It's the Grade 2 Tampa Bay Derby. On Fox Sports 2, Richard Grunder with the call.
He's in and now 1 to go. Tons of Gold will complete the lineup. Mimosa backs away. Now he's in. And Tons of Gold will break from the outside post 12. Under Angel Suarez. He steps in. And they're at the post. And they're off and running to a perfect start in the 40th renewal of the Lamb Home South Tampa Bay Derby. Relentless Dancer is away alertly from the outside. King Guillermo now moves up to challenge. Down along the inner rail, that's Texas Swing. Away with the top flight. Spa City is up on the outside as they circle the clubhouse turn and now sort themselves out. Relentless Dancer now going to the lead. From the outside, King Guillermo is there second. Texas Swing toward the rail third. Spa City is from between horses now fourth. Bye-bye Melvin in the 3-path racing along fifth. Then it's 1 length farther back to Market Analyst toward the rail now sixth. Chance It with clear racing room on the outside seventh. Then it's 3 lengths farther back. Mimosa is there toward the rail and now racing along eighth. Up on the outside, that's Unrighteous now racing along ninth. There's 2.5 lengths farther back. Sole Volante is at this point racing along 11th, and Tons of Gold is 12th and last. A half-mile around in the Lamb Home South Tampa Bay Derby. Relentless Dancer and Gallardo trying to take him start to finish. Long shot King Guillermo going after the leader second. Texas Swing is there toward the rail third. 3 lengths farther back. Market Endless set down for the drive fourth, and there goes Chance It on the outside, and Paco Lopez sets him down for the drive, and he's picking off horses 1 by 1. But meanwhile, up front at 50 to 1, King Guillermo now going to the lead. Here's King Guillermo on the outside trying to pull a huge upset. Chance It is storming home on the outside. Inside the final furlong, do you believe this? King Guillermo at 49 to 1. He doesn't just win it, he wins it off impressively. Sole Volante from absolutely last for second. Texas Swing was third. Relentless Dancer was fourth. And running time on the board, 142.63.
A horse whose only prior win had come on the turf, who's not even nominated to the Triple Crown, King Guillermo. A shocker in the Tampa Bay Derby.
His first start as a 3-year-old, and what a comeback this is. And he ran in racehorse time, 142 and change over this racetrack. That's real racehorse time, and wins off, drawing off, and looks like he's looking for more ground as he crosses the finish line.
No, look, he got bet on debut going short, and then, then they tried him on the turf going longer, but maybe it wasn't the turf that made him happy. Maybe it was the 2 turns and the longer distance. He got it today, and he absolutely exploded.
49 to 1. King Guillermo, son of Uncle Mo. He actually tried dirt sprinting in his debut. He didn't show much in that effort. Wound up breaking his maiden on the turf, gets back on dirt, and if he should choose to move on, he's got a spot in the starting gate for the Kentucky Derby. Meanwhile, back in the Grade 3 Gotham, at Aqueduct, Mischievous Alex, since he has put on blinkers, he is a perfect 3 for 3. He's been impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. And you look at his pedigree. He's by Uncle Mo out of a Dixieland band mare. So that tells you he may not want 1.25 miles, but the way he looked today, I'd continue on the trail that they're on right now because he was impressive.
By the way, we told you there was an inquiry. There was no change at all. 6'10", 4'8". Remains as it finished on the track. And this happened just moments ago at Oaklawn Park in Hot Springs, Arkansas. The Hot Springs in a rematch between last year's edition of this race that Whitmore won when he beat Share the Upside. Those are the two big names in this race. Let's see how it played out. Whitmore went off at 4-5 under Joe Talamo. Vic Stauffer with the call.
They're off. Mr. Jägermeister and Share the Upside. Mr. Jägermeister to the front. Wendell Fong away in third. Then comes Boulder. And the early trailer is Whitmore. He broke fifth, now moves into fourth on his way towards third. Whitmore's on the move at the rail. Mr. Jägermeister uncontested up front from Share the Upside, who's content to sit just off his flank. Mr. Jägermeister past the half-mile pole. In the 74th Hot Springs leads by a length and a half. Share the Upside has Whitmore stuck down at the rail. Those two are 2 lengths behind Mr. Jägermeister now less as Share the Upside draws within a length of the lead. Whitmore is at the rail 2 from the front. Wendell Fong and Boulder are 4 from the lead. Top of the stretch, Mr. Jägermeister is fresh and strong. Mr. Jägermeister rides the rail to a length and a half lead from Share the Upside. Whitmore just moved inside of him. Here's Whitmore into second now after Mr. Jägermeister, and Whitmore's on the move. Mr. Jägermeister going to have to hold off Whitmore, who's trying to win this race for the 4th consecutive year, and he just ran right on by, and he's going to run away and score Whitmore. Yes! 4 Hot Springs in a row for the brilliant Whitmore. He won by 3.5. Mr. Jägermeister second, close for third.
7 years old, and he just keeps on rolling. He's closing in on $3 million in earnings. Third in last year's Breeders' Cup Sprint. Looks like he's got plenty left in the tank.
Yes, he does. And Joe Talamo rode him for the first time in his last race, and that was the first race of the year. He probably needed that, but Joe rode him with a lot of confidence today. Got the perfect sitting, stalking trips, saving ground, came into the stretch, just kind of moved Share the Upside out of the way and motored on by.
Whitmore usually gets out a little bit. I think being stuck down inside right there kept him from doing that and saved a lot of energy, and he got the job done for sure.
Road to the Kentucky Oaks for 3-year-old fillies. 50 points to the winner in this race, which will basically get you into that race. Mile and a 16th, $300,000 purse. And she dares the devil for trainer Brad Cox. Right now favored on the board at 2-1. Ringleader of the 4, undefeated for McLean Robertson, stretching out for the first time as we take you back to Tampa Bay and King Guillermo, a result that I don't think anyone expected in this Kentucky Derby prep.
Oh, I
$100.
Did you have him?
No.
JK?
No, I was actually glad that you had him in the post parade, so I didn't have to embarrass myself and say something bad about him, and then he wins.
We picked up Sol Volante, was making a real big move in this race. He winds up second. Where do you see him still fitting into this picture?
I thought he ran a great race. He got stopped 2 times going around the turn. Florent had the weight on him a little bit, so he still ran a good race.
The 4 was authentic. The 5,000 words, 2 undefeated. Derby hopefuls for Bob Baffert in the San Felipe coming up from Santa Anita. We'll be back.
Go from Railbird to Winner's Circle. With My Racehorse, you have access to top horses and trainers, backside tours, exclusive ownership experiences, and fast payouts to your online account. With shares starting as little as $100, the Winner's Circle is waiting for you. Go to myracehorse.com or download the My Racehorse app today to join the thousands who have already started their journey as a racehorse owner.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2, and on Sunday, mandatory payout in the Empire 6. It only takes 20 cents to take down an Empire. That jackpot could be huge on Sunday. It's available every day. Will continue throughout the Aqueduct meet, but a mandatory payout tomorrow. Go to NYRA.com/Empire6 for all the details. 2 Kentucky Derby preps down, a third to come in the Grade 2 San Felipe. Bob Baffert sending out 2 undefeated horses in Authentic and 1,000 Words, but the Breeders' Cup Juvenile winner, Storm the Court, trying to get back on track after a 4th in the San Vicente in his 3-year-old debut. Michelle Yu caught up with his trainer.
I'm joined by Peter Urton, who saddles champion Storm the Court. What were your impressions of his 2020 debut?
I was pleased with it. I mean, maybe a lot of people weren't, but I think he got a lot out of it. He wasn't quite, cranked up as much as we would have wanted to win, but I didn't really care about that. I just wanted to get enough out of it, and he's a light-made horse that want to kind of save things for later.
Are you happy to get him back around 2 turns?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he's got a nice high cruising speed. It'll be interesting to see how this race opens up. I'd like to see him lay right there, first or second, and get a nice trip, but we'll see how it goes.
Is he tricky to ride at all? You do have a new rider today in Joel Rosario.
I don't think he's that tricky to ride. I think he's pretty straightforward. When he's on the lead, he likes to defend it. And if he has to be laying second or third, he's going to have to learn a new tactic.
Best of luck here.
Thank you.
Guys?
Well, let's go back to what Michelle was just talking about. Storm the Court does have a new rider. Flavian Pratt, he had a choice. Storm the Court, the 2-year-old champ, or 1,000 Words for Bob Baffert. He chose 1,000 Words. Are you surprised by that?
No, I'm not really surprised about that. Bob, this horse is very workmanlike, and I'm not surprised that he chose him today.
It's our ABR race of the week, the San Felipe, and here's Fort McHenry, who's the half-brother to California Chrome.
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to say anything about a 76-1 odds here right now after what we just saw in the Tampa Bay Derby, but blinkers are coming off. First time for Doug O'Neill today.
Here's Honor AP, John Sheriff's runner, coming off a maiden win.
Yeah, Mike Smith was pretty vocal this summer. This was a horse he really liked, and he's got a shot in here.
Wrecking Crew, he's grade 1 placed for Peter Miller.
He was 3rd in the Breeders' Cup behind Storm the Court, and ran a bad race. His next race lost out futurity.
Bob Baffert says Authentic moves like a gazelle, but his stretch run when the sham was ugly.
It's a little goofy, but if he grows up, I think he'll win this race, and I think he will.
1,000 Words, another Baffert runner. He's a perfect 3 for 3, and his last win gave Bob Baffert his 3,000th win.
Yeah, a lot of people weren't impressed by that race. I was. It was very workmanlike, and he just keeps winning races 3 in a row.
Storm the Court, the 2-year-old champion, winner of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He was beat by a Baffert horse, Nadal, in the San Vicente in his 3-year-old debut.
2-year-old champion, he's the 4th choice on the board. No respect.
And on the outside, 75-1 shot. Swag Sensational, he comes in from Turf Paradise. He has won 3 in a row. It's a huge step up.
Yeah, I've seen horses win from all over the place. He's going to have to run the best race of his life. The numbers are going to have to step up. Hey, connections want to take a shot.
Well, if you want to win the San Felipe, being with the Bob Baffert barn has been the way to go. He's got 2 shots in today's race, and look at all these victories. Of course, one of them, Gary Stevens was aboard. That was Point Given back in 2001.
Yeah, and had high hopes of him winning the Kentucky Derby after that victory, and that's what this is all about, keeping your dreams alive. But you just keep your fingers crossed that they get there.
Let's go to Michelle Yu for more.
Thanks Thanks so much, Greg. Talking about Authentic in here, and it's going to be his antics that are really going to be the question as they come down to the wire. Now, in the sham stakes, he was very erratic in the stretch, ducking in several times, and Drayden Van Dyke after the race said it was because he heard the crowd at him and it spooked him. So today, he'll be equipped with earplugs. So there's several different kinds that you can use. Some are made out of foam, some have little strings so you could actually pull them out either during the race or before the race starts. But he has these ones made out of sheepskin. They've been put all the way down inside his ears, and there's a little bit of a firmer core and then soft on the outside, so it is going to be able to block a lot of the sounds out, and he will keep them out throughout the entire race, so they're going to stay in his ears. You'll see a lot of the horses that have them, they are big, white, and fluffy up towards the outside, and those are not ones with as dense of a core, so they don't block out as much sound. Sometimes the sound can help the horse really finish, but for Authentic, they want to worry about him going straight, and so that's why he'll be equipped with this particular set that I actually did get from Bob Baffert's barn, so the actual ones that are going in his ears, guys. Also, I did catch up with Peter Miller. He sends out the 3 Wrecking Crew, who just looked an absolute picture on the racetrack here. He said this is actually a prep for the UAE Derby, so he's looking for a good effort for him, but he said he does need one coming off of that layoff, guys.
Michelle, thank you very much. And there is Authentic. So, guys, Bob Baffert had said, look, he didn't want to put blinkers on him. He's never really done it in the morning, so we'll see if these earplugs make a difference. And now he's had a couple of months to grow up a little bit.
Yeah, and I talked to Drayden about this, and he won the sham so easily, and he relatively didn't have any company coming into the stretch to keep him focused. And I figured that the more company he has, and he'll have some company putting pressure on him coming into the stretch today, and I think that will help him stay focused. But he comes in the lead here, and he's literally just galloping, and you'll see him shift his head out right there and start hearing noises, and I'm thinking, well, he's all right here. And then he about jumps through the inside fence and makes 2 big erratic moves there, and I think he's going to be under pressure today. I think he'll stay more focused, and the earplugs hopefully, keep him focused so we can see the best of him today.
What do you try and do as a rider? Is there anything you can do to try and keep him calm?
Well, he's very calm, as you can see, as you saw out there in the post parade. See there, it's very relaxed, and he's alert but relaxed. And as a rider, he knows this horse. He works him. Drayden works him every time that he works out. He rode in that race. He's going to be prepared for any kind of antics, but he's never done it in the morning, and he hasn't done it since the earplugs have been put in.
Well, meanwhile, our 2-year-old champion, JK, stormed the court. Winner of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, Peter Urton, had planned on just really a 2-race spring to get to the Kentucky Derby. He's had to alter that plan after what happened in the San Vicente.
No, absolutely. And look, he came back going 7, and like Peter Urton said, that wasn't the goal, right? When you have the 2-year-old champion, you don't say, man, I can't wait to win the San Vicente. The goal was to win the Derby or to get at least and get in the starting gate. And so a means to an end with this race. I wasn't overly impressive. It's just hard to kind of get over a horse that wins the Juvenile at 45-1, and he's going to have to prove it to me today. I think he's got a lot to overcome with these Baffert horses, and I also believe, like Michelle hinted at, is that Wrecking Crew is a sneaky horse in this spot at a huge price.
I think that Storm the Court, I liked his race. I thought it was a lot better than it looked. It was his first out of the year. You heard Peter say that he's a light-framed horse, and he wants to keep the best for last, but I think he moves forward 5 or 6 lengths today, and he's going to be part of 1, 2, 3, I think.
Now, there's the half-brother to former Kentucky Derby winner California Chrome. He was actually put in for a claiming tag last time out. That was in New York at Aqueduct when he was with Todd Pletcher. Nobody took him, but now he's in the Doug O'Neill barn. He has a huge price at 79-1. Meanwhile, the 2 Bob Bafferts, Authentic the 4, 1,000 Words the 5. Bob actually said he prefers 1,000 Words in this race. The 5, as you see him move in, he's more workmanlike, doesn't really wow you in any of his races, but he just keeps on grinding. It is the Grade 2 San Felipe winner. Moving on to the Kentucky Derby, Frank Miramati with the call.
And they're off in the San Felipe. Authentic bobbled slightly, but recovers immediately and will vie for the lead. 1,000 Words is up close, and so is Storm the Court. 3 of them across the track. Honor AP came away in good order and now settles in 4th along the inside with Wrecking Crew next. They're followed by Fort McHenry and Swagsational. Authentic is the leader around the first turn, opens up a length and a half. Storm the Court is in second, and 1,000 Words tucked in third, 2 lengths off his stablemate with less than 6 furlongs to go. Honor AP has 4 lengths to make up. Wrecking Crew inches up outside of him, then Fort McHenry in a gap of 4 to Swagsational. Past the 5/8 they go in the San Felipe Stakes. Chasing Authentic, who's in front by a length and a half. Storm the Court is asked to get closer in second. 1,000 Words a comfortable third. Honor AP is fourth past the half-mile pole. He's 4 lengths off the lead. Wrecking Crew is outside of him. The gray is Fort McHenry with 6 to make up, and it's a long way to Swagsational. Authentic in charge around the turn, clear by a length and a half to Storm the Court in second. Honor AP moves up on the outside, trying to get into second now. Then it's Wrecking Crew. 1,000 Words has lost ground. He's 5 lengths off Authentic as the field turns for home. Honor AP is coming after Authentic. Authentic the leader. Honor AP chasing with determination. Then Storm the Court there in the final furlong, and it's Authentic who's still very strong on the front end, and he pulls away with authority. Authentic is undefeated as he will romp in the San Felipe, a very easy 2.5 lengths. Honor AP, a solid comeback. Storm the Court third. 1,000 Words was fourth.
Authentic, he looks like the real deal today. The San Felipe, much more professional stretch run.
He was very professional today. He was professional all throughout the race. Tugged on Drayden a little bit, but he was relaxed. He was listening to the rider. Well, I say that, but he had earplugs in. So he was feeling his Drayden's body language and listening to what his body was telling him. And when he came into the stretch, Drayden went left-handed, gave him a tap, and he went on about his business. And a good run from Honor AP as well.
The good news is that's the style that wins the Kentucky Derby: forward and kick home, and they went fast enough. Those are the honest fractions. And he was sitting out there on the front end, and he did it comfortably. And then when Honor AP and Mike Smith ran at him, he kicked away from him.
Yeah, Honor AP looked like he was making a big move. Keep in mind, that is a horse who's just coming off his maiden win, just the 3rd start of his career.
He's going to improve off of this race a lot. Both horses galloped out very strong after the race. Still going strong right now afterwards. But I was impressed by both horses. More impressed with Authentic, though, even though Honor AP will move forward off of today's run.
If you liked Honor AP, don't give up.
No.
That mile and an 8 Santa Anita Derby, that'll hit him right between the eyes.
I agree 100%. He should improve with that extra 6th or 8th of a mile, but I think that they've still got to worry about Authentic is going to continue to improve as well.
So Authentic remains undefeated for Bob Baffert with a win in the Grade 2 San Felipe. Up next, Grade 3 Honeybee with 50 points to the winner on the road to the Kentucky Oaks. His ringleader puts her perfect record on the line as she stretches out.
Warfront. This son of Danzig ranks among the world's elite sires, with Grade 1 winners on dirt and turf, and star performers both at home and abroad. Warfront's success as an international super sire is unmatched. Recent Grade 1 winners include Omaha Beach and Preakness Stakes hero War of Will. In the auction ring, Warfront was the #1 sire by highest average at Keeneland September, with yearlings commanding prices up to $2.9 million. Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match with promo code Big A at NairaBets.com.
Challenge Derby presented by Run Happy. Running away in the Run Happy hopeful.
But Coley wins the Run Happy that mile. Have won the Run Happy Drummers.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. It's brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. It was Bob Baffert and Authentic remaining undefeated in the Grade 2 San Felipe and punching his tickets to the Kentucky Derby. much. I guess the earplugs did the trick.
They did the trick. He was very professional today. He looks like the type of horse that wants to please his rider. What do you want me to do next? I'll do it for you. He's learned with each and every one of his starts. He's moved forward. He moved forward again today, and I expect him to move forward again in the Santa Anita Derby if that's where he heads.
That'll be a likely spot. Meanwhile, Honoré P winds up second. Our 2-year-old champion stormed the court third. And look, it's good news, bad news for Baffert. He's got an undefeated, authentic. 1,000 words, though. I think he was expecting a little better today.
Yeah, 1,000 words. He's a horse that needs pushing, shoving the whole way. He's a little bit of a lazy horse. Reminds me a lot of Silver Charm. I wouldn't give up on him right now. Threw in a clinker today, but he can rebound.
Let's go to Michelle Yu.
Thanks, Greg. I'm standing by here with Drayden Van Dyke, who was aboard for the win here. Drayden, were you a little surprised they left you all alone out here?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit, but I mean, it's either way. If they want to chase me, I don't think it would matter, to be honest. He's a really nice horse, and he's got a nice high cruising speed, and he's deadly.
Now let's talk a little bit about the comparison between the Sham and today. Obviously, he seemed a lot better down the stretch, but did you feel some greenness still?
A little bit. When I pull my whip through in the left hand, and of course the grandstands, he's still kind of looking at him a little bit, but I tell you what, nowhere near as worse as it was last time. So
he's still a May colt, so he's obviously still going to be improving. What's it feel like, though, to have a horse like this that seems to be you have plenty left over?
It's exciting. I'm happy for all the connections, and I just got to keep doing my job.
And it doesn't seem any more distance will be a problem for him.
No, I don't think so. Like you said, I got him pulled up by the half-mile pole and just taking my time with him, but I think he can keep going.
Thanks, DVD.
Yeah, thank you.
Greg?
Michelle, thanks. Yeah, when Drayden Van Dyke broke this horse's maiden back in November as a 2-year-old, he told Baffert this was his favorite 2-year-old. How early on did you know? You won this race, we mentioned, with Point Given. How early on did you know that horse was a legitimate contender for the Triple Crown?
I knew prior to riding him in the San Vicente, from just working him out in the morning, I knew how he was progressing with each and every work. And I've been watching Authentic work, and he's been my pick of the Baffert horses for the last couple of months. And the most impressive thing about his workouts in the morning are his gallop outs. And Drayden said that he galloped out all the way around to the half-mile pole. And when he works in the morning, he may go 5/8 of a mile. That's what the time says. But his gallop outs are a mile, basically gallop outs. So that's been the thing I've been most impressed with, and I was extremely impressed with him today.
It's all about who progresses, takes that next step as a 3-year-old, and it looks like Authentic has taken a huge step forward with this win in the San Felipe. Of course, third final leg of the Triple Crown. Will we have a Triple Crown on the line? Get your tickets now. Don't get shut out. Be part of it on Belmont Stakes Day. Tickets on sale now. History happens here. Get your Belmont Stakes ticket. Go to belmontstakes.com to get involved. Points on the line for the Kentucky Oaks for 3-year-old fillies the first Friday in May. Mile and a 16th, 2 turns coming up here in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And right now, ringleader undefeated. She will stretch out. She will go 2 turns for the first time. She is 5-1 above her 7-2 morning line for McLean Robertson. Here comes our post parade, though. We start with Mo 2, 7-2 for Kenny McPeak.
And Brian Hernandez aboard today, first race at Oakland Park for Mo 2.
Brad Cox sends out She Dares the Devil.
She made that first. She made the first move into a fast pace last time. That's always a little bit of a hidden trip.
9-1 on Turtle Tracks for Ian Wilkes.
And she's coming out of a race at Suncoast, or the Suncoast Stakes at Tampa Bay, so she was second last time out.
The undefeated daughter of Painter. Here's ringleader. She's 3 for 3.
Set off of an easy pace last time and now has the stretch out. I would lean against.
Steve Asmussen sends out Alta's Award. She's won each of her last 2 starts at the fairgrounds.
Yeah, she's improved, and she's going to improve again today. I think she's going to have a big say-so under Ricardo Santana.
John Service, he sends out 50 Shades of Green, daughter of Bernardini.
He's already had a pretty good day. John has going to be part of the speed brigade up front.
Yeah, won the Gotham. Now can he get the Honeybee as well? Raggedy Annie at 11-1. The great D. Wayne Lucas.
Yeah, 7 times she's run on the dirt. This will be her second time to run on fast dirt. And the last time she did, she got beat 32 lengths.
And 42-1 long shot on the outside. Daughter of Verrazano. That is Queen Bridget for John Ortiz.
John Ortiz, and this one's going to be sitting mid-pack. Looks to be up against it. Her last 4 races have been on turf, trying something different today.
Post time for the Grade 3 Honeybee. We check in Hot Springs with Nancy Holthus.
Thanks so much, guys. Filly that's getting a lot of support at the window right now is from the barn of Steve Asmussen, that being Alta's Award. Interestingly, she left the paddock prior to the other fillies to make her way to the infield to meet her connections. She also broke post parade very early, and I asked Steve what the reasoning was and if she did that at the fairgrounds, and the answer was yes. That is in an effort to kind of keep her away from the group, really keep her calm and give her rider a chance to keep her away and really allow her to relax. She is making the stakes debut today. These are also the same connections, owner, trainer, and jockey of Silver Prospector, who was victorious in the Southwest and who we'll see next week in the Rebel. Steve is one of the Honeybee 6 times. He's got a very solid chance to do it here today with Alta's Award. Guys?
All right, Nancy, thank you for that. Getting set to load up in here. And yeah, Alta's Award trying to win 3 in a row and is favored right now at 2-1. But ringleader, it looks like she's coming out of the Dixie Bell that she won impressively last time out. She could be the controlling speed in this race.
Yeah, I think she will be the controlling speed in here. Problem with ringleader is she was a little ranked last time that she rode. Joe Talamo did a good job schooling her, trying to teach her something. He got her back, but she was still pulling. I didn't love the way that she finished. She was getting run down late. That race was only 6 furlongs. She is stretching out today, but I think there's some doubts about her distance limitations.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not crazy about the fact that she didn't have a tough trip at all. She sat in behind 2 horses, and the pace wasn't all that fast. And like you said, she was getting run at late, and now she's going to have to deal with some extra distance. I mean, the tote board's kind of a little bit cold on her at 5-1. I thought she might be a little bit shorter. So if you're interested at 5-1, I wouldn't necessarily talk you off. But I'd imagine she'll probably click down to 4-1 before it's all said and done.
Yeah, and Joe Talamo, he took off a ringleader today. He's got a new rider, and David Cohen. Joe jumped aboard. She dares the devil, the number 2 horse for Brad Cox. He's been riding a lot of horses for Brad. She's getting bet right now. She was second off the layoff in her last race here at Oaklawn Park. So she looks to move forward again today here too.
JK, that's how you wound up with in this spot. She dares the devil. What'd you like about her?
Yeah, I just thought that, I mean, actually I was there the day at Churchill. We were here with Fox Sports watching her break her maiden, so I kind of always followed her. She got sold privately, went out to California with Simon Callahan, and then when she showed back up for Brad Cox, she ran well first time off, first time as a 3-year-old as well. And the way that Brad trains, you just expect her to take another step forward. And that hidden middle move, that first move into that fast pace, is what kind of got me excited about her chances here. She's got to work out a trip from the inside. You don't want to get buried in behind horses, but she's shown some tactical speed in the past, so hopefully they'll get her away from there and get her running.
Meanwhile, you have a filly whose graded stakes place. That was against Finite in the Grade 2 Goldenrod back in her 2-year-old campaign. She's come back in the Suncoast. Had to be a little bit disappointing. She was a beaten favorite that day. But for Kenny McPeak on the rail, 3-1 on Motu. What do you expect from her today?
Look, I worry about the rail. Like I said, it's something that always catches my attention this day and age. You just don't want to necessarily be down there. A lot of bad things can happen in terms of trip, getting dirt kicked back in your face for these young horses. It's a lot to deal with. We saw with Authentic trying to overcome a learning experience, understanding that you don't have to worry about what's over there in the grandstand. They're not going to come over there and mess with you. And I think sometimes these horses aren't used to that kickback. And so being drawn down on the inside, you have an increased chance of that happening to you.
I'll tell you what, of tracks I've ridden, and especially late in my career, I loved riding at Oaklawn Park. I loved drawing the inside, going around a ground. And the thing about it, the kickback there, it just sprays back. It's not anything tough on them. So I think of all the racetracks in the United States, this might be the best place that I really didn't mind being inside.
We'll see if Motu can overcome it. Grade 3 Honeybee, Vic Stauffer with the call here on Fox Sports 2.
They're off. Ringleader broke beautifully, goes immediately to the front. She Dares the Devil and Mo 2. Alta's Award away in fourth. Then comes Raggedy Annie and Turtle Tracks with 50 Shades of Green and Queen Bridget. Ringleader is unmanageable at the first turn. She's all over the place, trying to run away and way out in the four-path. Ringleader, an absolute handful for David Cohen, wants to slow down. She will have none of it. Ringleader leads by 2. Mo 2 and Alta's Award, second and third. Then comes She Dares the Devil, fourth at the rail and 2.5 off the lead. Queen Bridget is fifth. Raggedy Annie is sixth with 4 lengths to make up. Then comes Turtle Tracks, and 50 Shades of Green is the trailer. Up the backstretch in the 33rd Honeybee. Ringleader has settled down a bit, but she's still a cantankerous leader by 2.5 lengths from Mo 2 and Alta's Award. They all eyeball each other and the front-running Ringleader. She Dares the Devil, gonna try to go through a tight spot at the rail, 4th and 2 from the front. Queen Bridget is 2.5 lengths off the lead. Then comes Turtle Tracks, Raggedy Annie, and Queen Bridget. Ringleader still 3 furlongs from the money. Ringleader now only 3/4 of a length from Mo 2 and Alta's Award. Queen Bridget is 4 deep. Ringleader only leads by a half length at the quarter pole. Alta's Award and Mo 2 come after her. Here comes Mo 2 to split horses. Ringleader at the rail. Mo 2, Alta's Award to the outside, and Mo 2 has taken over a short lead. Ringleader is battling on bravely. She Dares the Devil looks for a way through. Alta's Award to the outside. Alta's Award takes the lead. She Dares the Devil splits horses for Joe Talamo. Alta's Award, that's the switch leads. She Dares the Devil, Alta's Award, She Dares the Devil. She Dares the Devil beats Alta's Award. Mo 2 third, Queen Bridget fourth.
Joe Talamo waiting, finally finding room as She Dares the Devil. We need to say goodbye to those watching on MSG Plus. We are back next week on MSG from 5:30 to 7. So we'll see you then, MSG Plus viewers. All right, guys, so you were talking offset here, waiting to see if this filly would drop to the inside, where she would go to find room. Eventually found an opening.
Yeah, look, last time that Joe rode She Dares the Devil, whenever you make the lead on a horse and somebody comes back and passes you, you sort of come back and you say, did I move too early? And he may have moved on her early last time out, and then she got a little tired. Joe rode a very patient stake, gave her a great ride until we get into the stretch, and then he couldn't pick whether he wanted to go inside. It was tight. He couldn't find anywhere. I told JK, I said, he's going to have to eat her. And he finally found some running room, and I know you let out a sigh of relief.
Well, yeah, he probably heard us. We were both in here yelling his name very loudly. Joe, Joe.
Where are you going?
He obviously made the good decision getting down in there. She was loaded, at the top of the stretch, right outside the quarter pole. You knew she was the winner if she found a seed.
50 points, that's going to get her into that starting gate in the Kentucky Oaks the first Friday in May. So trainer Brad Cox, Fleury Racing Stables, Joe Talamo on to Kentucky for the Oaks. We'll be back with more America's Day at the Races right after this.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America's Best Racing is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
It's very exciting to see them come on out and performing and look just like him, hat like him, sleep and eat like Run Happy. They're pretty nice horses. Right now they're fast and working, and it's exciting to see when they go out running.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
racing with the power of daily racing form. DRF has helped players win at the races for 125 years. Now the information you trust is better than ever. Get exclusive late-breaking news from our reporters at tracks across the country. Position yourself to win by adding Buyer speed figures and the new DRF Formulator to your handicapping arsenal. Go to drf.com/NYRA today. Use coupon code DRF2020 to get a free Formulator card and start winning.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2, and happy birthday to Run Happy. Turned 8 years old earlier this week, and Gary Stevens sharing a birthday just the other day as well. And of course, you two had some nice moments together winning the Malibu here at Santa Anita.
Yeah, and what did you say this morning, JK, that I think you said something that Run Happy is the same age as me in dog years?
Dog years, yeah. Same
said?
idea, I think so.
Dog, he's a champion.
What a talent he was. What was that like in the Malibu winning on him?
Well, I was just proud to ride him, to have the luxury to ride him. I appreciated Mattress Mac giving me that opportunity. And basically, I just got the break, sit still, try and look pretty coming through the stretch. And, you know, the opening day, the Malibu Stakes, if you can be fortunate enough to not only ride in the Malibu, but win it on opening day, it's a great way to end the year, going into the new year, and start some momentum up as a jockey for the rest of the meet. So it was a pleasure riding him. He's one of the fastest horses that I ever sat on. He was a magnificent sprinter, a great brain, and he was a great horse.
And he's been outstanding at stud again this summer at Saratoga, and we're going to be there. Upstate New York, we're going to see that $100,000 bonus on the line in those 2-year-old races. If any Run Happies happen to win, that bonus is on the line. Back in the Grade 3 Honeybee at Oaklawn on the road to the Kentucky Oaks. She Dares the Devil, getting the job done. Second time out at Oaklawn.
Yeah, very impressive. And she would say, I would say, probably be pointing to the Fantasy, which will set her up for the trip to Kentucky for the Oaks. But impressive today. She really stepped forward.
Brad Cox, Flurry Racing. Joe Talamo, Winning Connections, Alta's Award, Motu complete the trifecta. Earlier today at Aqueduct, another prep for the Kentucky Oaks in the Busher Invitational, $250,000 purse for 3-year-old fillies. Highly regarded Lake Avenue for Bill Mott, trying to win 3 in a row and making her 3-year-old debut. It would not be her day.
No, it wasn't. She was a short price, and she went pretty quick early and had some pressure, but I still think people probably expected she was going to run a little bit better. I thought Ray Handel and the 2-horse Kansas Kiss were going to get the job done here, but like you mentioned, Water White. I'm guessing that's a play on Walter White, the guy from, what's that show called?
Breaking Bad.
Breaking
Has
Bad.
to be.
There you go. Yeah.
Rudy Rodriguez. Yeah, this Kansas Kiss looked home free, and then Water White just digs in and refuses to lose, and just gets up in time to take the Busher. So, Daughter of Conveyance for Rudy Rodriguez. EV Racing Stable get the win in the Busher and get 50 points on the road to the Kentucky Oaks. We have a new filly to look out for from the Bob Baffert barn. Lot made of this $1.8 million daughter of Into Mischief for the Baffert barn. She lived up to expectations in the debut earlier today at Santa Anita.
Yeah, and she was under no pressure whatsoever from Drayden Van Dyke. Drayden's had a great day for Mr. Baffert. $1.8 million. That might put a little bit of a dent back into their investment.
Little ways to go to still make up that money, but she looked extremely impressive today. Definitely behind the 8 ball, though, to try and make it to that first Friday in May.
Definitely. I mean, behind the 8 ball, but I wouldn't put it past. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past Bob Baffert. Ask Justify.
Did happen for Justify in late February. We shall see. But yes, she was very impressive. Drayden Van Dyke on board for that victory as well. Back here at Santa Anita, more coming up as we take a look at the group lining up for race 9. It's a mile on the turf, an allowance optional claiming field. And currently it's Peters, Kitten, outside in post 12. Been trying to get through this condition for a long time. A lot of seconds. 6 seconds from 12 starts, but is favored right now. We kick off our post parade with She's Our Charm for Ron McAnally.
Homebred for Ron McAnally and Debbie McAnally. She was a buyback for $600,000, and she's getting bet right now.
Long shot, Prima Valentina.
Double digits on her last 4 starts. She's 77-1 now. The public's not believing in her ability to turn it around.
Courteous is grade 3 placed.
She's grade 3 placed, but her last couple of races have been a little bit dull, but never counted out Richard Mandela and Abel Cedillo.
4's Heather's Gray, 5-1 on the board for Sean McCarthy.
She has won twice at this racetrack. She's off a little bit of a break, not getting much respect on the board as well.
18-1 on Kalinke for Phil Diamato. We move on to Muchley State's debut for Simon Callahan.
Yeah, she had 2 stakes wins overseas for John Gosden, 1 at Ascot. She hasn't been working particularly great in the morning. We'll see how she runs on the grass.
Silken Spy, big long shot at 41-1. Mike Smith aboard.
Yeah, it's not often that you see Mike Smith riding a 40-1 shot, but it's for Eric Crueljack, and you like long shots, that's your pick.
Lavender, she won her state's debut, sprinting 5.5 for Matthew Chu.
To be her first time going 2 turns. Another one who in the workout reports haven't been very kind to her.
Patty Gallagher sends out the 9 Dupiani, makes her state's debut.
State's debut, and Patty Gallagher, he's capable of these first European runners.
37-1 on Magical Gray. She's quick.
Got loose last time at 42-1. I don't think she's going to get loose this time at 37-1.
Absolutely perfect. Drayden Van Dyke for Dan Blacker.
Dan Blacker, and this filly's coming off of a 7th place finish, 2nd off the layoff. They improved for Dan Blacker.
And despite all those seconds for Peter's Kitten, still favored at 5-2.
She's the best on paper, but she's also got the worst draw. But if I had to pick any rider in the colony to work out a trip, it'd be Joel Rosario.
And her only win, too, it came on a race that was taken off the turf.
Absolutely, and she's, like you said, she's back on the turf now, and she'll have to overcome that outside draw. And for a horse that's going to come from off of it, she's going to end up 3 or 4 wide, probably at least one of those turns.
All right, we'll be back with the 9th from Santa Anita in a moment. Meanwhile, from the Kentucky Oaks Prep, we just showed you the grade 3 Honeybee. At Oaklawn, She Dares the Devil. Brad Cox, Joe Talamo. He made it interesting late, gets the win in the end. We go to Nancy Holthus for more.
Here with some very happy connections of this year's running of the grade 3 Honeybee. She Dares the Devil. She did not tempt with the rest of the field. Winning jockey Joe Talamo, you swept both stakes today. A really good afternoon for you, Joe. But first, talk to me about your stretch run. You've got a really good feel over the Oaklawn surface thus far at the meet. Talk to me about your stretch run in the Honeybee.
Yeah, what a tremendous effort. I mean, that was pretty amazing. I was really the whole race, I was absolutely loaded with horse. Turning for home there, it's just a matter of, you know, when and where it was going to open up. And when it did, man, she just absolutely exploded through there. And that was, it's always a good feeling when they do that.
A really good afternoon for you, and an excellent afternoon for you, Staten of Flurry Racing. Now, she gets her very first stakes win. We only did it in a grade 3. She now has 50 points towards the gate in the Kentucky Oaks. This is your hometown. How great is it to win a graded stakes in your favorite spot?
Man, you can't beat it. You can't beat it. Just to get our first win for the year, we were 0 for 13 coming into this race. So to get it in the graded stakes and with such a nice filly, I got to say thanks to Brad, Jorge, Bryson, Ricky, Blake, the whole Brad Cox crew, Joe for a great ride, Clay for calling me about this filly, Autry and Cutter Racing. Man, I hope we have a fun rest of the year.
Well, hopefully we'll get to see her in the fantasy, but
Absolutely.
I'm sure you're going to go out and celebrate tonight.
Probably not. It's been a long day across the street parking cars. Probably go to Chick-fil-A and go home and crash.
That sounds good. I might meet you there.
Well, I think it's safe to say that Chick-fil-A's on Joe tonight.
That's fine with me. I'll buy.
But a great day of racing here. Whitmore is back, and we might have a future superstar, and She Dares the Devil.
And good dinner plans ahead. But yeah, it's a big performance from She Dares the Devil. So keep her on the radar as we get closer to the Kentucky Oaks. But as you mentioned, the fantasy likely next spot.
Yeah, I would say so. I was really impressed with her race today. And looks like she'll run all day long, stretch out to a mile and 16th or a mile and 1/8 next time out, and then the same distance for the Kentucky Oaks of a mile and 1/8.
Gee, does that give you a lot of confidence when you kind of get into trouble like that with a horse? They can overcome it. Next time you understand you can kind of get yourself into a tough spot and pull it off.
Oh yeah, and I mean you're not afraid to save ground on a type like that. You know you can sit, almost like riding a good turf race, so that you can count on one exploding when the hole opens up. She's going to be facing tougher company as she goes on, but she's a filly that I think is very, very good.
Well, meanwhile, Gary, in a race like this, coming up here this 9th at Santa Anita, from an outside post with the run that you have to the turn here in this mile configuration on the turf, how difficult is that to try and be able to save any kind of ground with Peter's Kitten?
Well, JK hit the nail on the head. You got to have a rider to work out a trip from the 12 hole. It's Joel Rosario. This filly, she doesn't have a lot of speed, so I think that he's just going to find his way over to the rail. You've got to save ground around that first turn. It's very important. Joel's aware of that. He'll find a way to get over there. He's teamed up with John Sadler for a lot of winners over the last couple of years. He rides with a lot of confidence. John has a lot of confidence in him. So Joel's a pretty laid-back guy, and he's not going to worry about his trip. He's just going to make a trip, I've got a feeling.
And JK, that's a look right there at the 4 Heather's Gray. She's actually coming out of a grade 3 at a mile and a half, so cutting back in distance as well, but I thought a major player in here.
Yeah, I just worry about the short little layoff for her. But, you know, she back in October, she won off of a short break as well. So she's going to have to work out a trip from the inside. And if the 12 Peters Kitten can't get that good trip, she could be the one that inherits it.
Then we have some new faces, obviously. We've talked about State's debut for a couple in here. The 9 Dupioni, the 9 Muchley for Simon Callahan, who's on the board at 7-2. She's already making the 10th start of her career, this 4-year-old filly.
Yeah, and she's faced some decent types over in Europe. The tracks that she raced at over there, Yarmouth, Newmarket, they're big-time tracks. So she's faced some decent type force. She's right there every time. And she's a filly that could get a chance. The 6 horse for Simon, as you mentioned, Umberto Rispoli, he's been on fire here at Santa Anita of late. Won some nice races earlier on today, making all the right moves. You know, he's placing his horses in good spots. He can finish on one. So if I'm going to pick one in here of the firsters from Europe, it would be Muchley, the 6 horse.
And one thing, a quick disclaimer, I mentioned on the 6 and the 8 during the post-parade, Muchley and Lavender, that they hadn't exactly been getting the best grades on the workout reports. But one thing to keep in mind, these horses both came from Europe. They're both grass horses, obviously. They're running on the grass, and those workouts took place on the dirt. Usually grass horses are grass horses in America because they can't run on the dirt. And so there's a possibility that maybe that's why those works haven't been so good. But still, the people that are looking at them also can, you know, understand that these are grass horses and take that into account. So you can take it for what it is. I usually will lean against those negative grades in the morning.
And for Muchley, the 6, she's the 2nd choice on the board right now. She is a multiple winner on turf over in Great Britain. So we'll see how she fares in her 4-year-old and State's debut coming up. But our favorite remains outside, Peter's Kitten from post 12. John Sadler, Joel Rosario, Frank Miramati with the call. The 9th here from Santa Anita. You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2.
Dupioni is a little bit restless in there. The rider is off. A fractious runner in there is number 9. Dupioni. Muchley has gone in calmly. Jose Valdivia climbing back aboard Dupioni. Peter's Kitten is in. One more. They're in the gate. And they're off. Muchley hopped slightly. Quick beginning for Courteous. She's Our Charm is up close in the early stages, and so is Heather's Gray, joined by Magical Gray on the far outside. She's Our Charm is the quickest and is the leader into the first turn. Courteous, Heather's Gray right up alongside. Just behind them, Kalinicki is 5th, now about 4 lengths off the lead, and outside of her comes Magical Gray. That pair followed by Absolutely Perfect. Muchley is next, just 7 lengths off the pacemaker. It's a gap of 3 back to Lavender, who's 2 in front of Silken Spy, Prima Valentina, Peter's Kitten second to last, and Dupioni is at the back. About 15 lengths covers them, chasing She's Our Charm to the half-mile pole, 3/4 of a length. Courteous second, Heather's Gray is in third. Kalinicki on the fence fourth. Then comes Magical Gray, 5 lengths off the lead. Muchley is just behind her. Absolutely Perfect in the red and white colors is racing 3 lengths in front of Lavender, who's asked for a bit more. Silken Spy is next. Peter's Kitten is asked to run now, has more than 10 to make up. Dupioni is starting to gain some momentum, 1 from the rail. Prima Valentina at the back of the field. It's She's Our Charm, who turns for home in front, has been there throughout, widens now by 2. Heather's Gray is in second. Muchley is angled out, she has room. Dupioni continues to weave through traffic, far outside Peter's Kitten, a 16th to go. She's Our Charm clinging to the lead. A host of pursuers, including Lavender, but why not let Ron McAnally win on Big Cap Day? She's Our Charm. Lavender and Dupioni in a photo, and behind them, Peter's Kitten.
Yeah, how about that, Ron McAnally on Big Cap Day? She's Our Charm. Gets the job done here in the 9th at Santa Anita.
And I mentioned this filly is a homebred Candy Ride out of a mare that's Charm the Maker, which was Debbie McAnally's, and I mentioned that they'd bought her back for $600,000, and she's a 4-year-old now. She had only earned $47,000, but she's got pedigree. She wins nice today, and I'm sure she'll move on to Stakes Company here soon.
That was just a reminder of one of the best handicapping lessons when it comes to turf is you got to save ground. Peter's Kitten, the 12, was wide on both turns. Arguably best if you want to look at an opportunity to bet back. The 1, She's Our Charm, saved all the ground.
McAnally, one of the most respected trainers of all time, Hall of Famer, gets the win with She's Our Charm. When we come back, we'll look at more of the Baffert Brigade. Nadal, the San Vicente winner, and Charlatan had a better Beyer speed figure in his debut than Justify. Can he continue to move along?
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match with promo code Big A at NairaBets.com.
In the Run Happy Malibu.
Nucky has won the Run Happy Del Mar Ventura Clear.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Is Max Player on the outside to take over the lead in deep stretch, and Max Player will win the Withers by almost 3 lengths.
All of a sudden we went from a maiden win to being on the Derby Trail. That's pretty exciting.
And Tiz the Law could not have broke any better. Now Tiz the Law had to tap on the brakes a bit. Sakatoga Stables, Tiz the Law, your Holy Bull winner.
But Azul coasts his game, and Azul Coast turns them all away to win the El Camino Real Derby for Bob Baffert and Rafael Bejarano.
It's a win and you're in for the Preakness, but you now have 14 Kentucky Derby points. Where do we go now?
To the beer stand.
It's Modernist, who's holding on to a short lead. Modernist toward the inside for Junior Alvarado in the 2nd division of the Risen Star Stakes.
We rushed a little bit to get here today for this race, but worked out well. In 5 weeks, I believe, back to the Louisiana Derby.
Silver Prospector confidently handled by Santana. If he finds a way through, he could be the one. Silver Prospector wins the Southwest.
With having the Rebel and the Arkansas Derby left on the calendar, and with him having a win at Churchill Downs on the dirt, you know, we feel really good about him.
On the far outside, there goes Ete Indian from the 11 post to the rail. It's all about Ete Indian, who wins stylishly.
It's great. It looks like he's going to be in a derby. Hopefully we have a fair chance, for the first Saturday of May.
Well, and Ete Indian with that win in the Fountain of Youth has vaulted to near the top of the Kentucky Derby leaderboard, but Authentic and that win here in the San Felipe tops the list for Bob Baffert as he remains undefeated.
Yeah, and he deserves to be leading the pack after what we saw today. Very impressive.
King Guillermo making an appearance on that list as well after that shocking win in the Tampa Bay Derby. Untitled, Honor AP in there with 20 points apiece as well, but a lot left to be determined for those top 20 slots that first Saturday in May. In the Tampa Bay Derby, this was not one of the horses we talked about as a contender in this race. Maiden win had come on the turf. Only dirt start previously sprinting, JK, didn't show us much.
No, he didn't. I'm excited to see how fast this race comes back. What I mean by that is the speed figure. I want to see, how fast this race really was. Visually, it was impressive. If you match that with a figure, you got a real contender on your hands.
Meanwhile, in the Gotham, Gary, mischievous Alex, he's added blinkers in his last 3 starts, and now he has 3 wins in a row.
Yeah, and John Service said he's going to get together with the connections, decide if they're going to move forward towards the Kentucky Derby pedigree. It doesn't really say he wants to go that far, but I saw something different today. I love the way he fights, his focus, his stamina. Why not? Take a shot.
Impressive winner of the Grade 3 Gotham, earned 50 points for that win. And that on the West Coast in the San Felipe, Bob Baffert had 2 undefeated colts going head-to-head, and it's Authentic who gets the job done and looked very professional after not looking very professional in the stretch in the Sham.
I think the professionalism is the most important part after what we saw previously in the Sham when he was acting like a little bit of a kid. He looked like a grown-up here, and I'd imagine he'll continue to trend forward.
So this is how loaded the Baffert barn is. Wow. Still have Nadal to come. It looks like likely the Rebel for him next week. Charlatan had a 105 buyer in his debut. He could go against Allowance Company in his next start, and we're still waiting to see where 8 Rings is going to wind up in his next start.
Yeah, I mean, Charlatan, he ran that fast, but look, it was sprinting that day. Doesn't really have a place picked out for him. He's a quality horse. Whether he makes it to the Kentucky Derby, whether Bob will even try and force him into that situation, we'll have to wait and see, keep updated. Because if he does find an allowance race to run him in, there's no reason he couldn't come back in the Santa Anita Derby or any of the final major preps and still, if he wins it, earn enough money to get in the Kentucky Derby.
Opinions probably changed after what we saw today in the San Felipe, but coming into today, who impressed you most in the Baffert barn?
I'm excited about Nadal. We saw on the board that it should be running in the Rebel next week. He was buried down on the inside last time, ran a nice figure. I've heard Bob Baffert describe him as Derrick Henry. Big, strong horse, and I think he might continue to progress.
She's our charm for Ron McAnally, the Hall of Fame trainer. Daughter of Candy Ride here with the victory in the 9th. 198. It's the other one making the States debut. Dupioni getting in there for second to complete that exacta. Don't forget again, mandatory payout in the Empire 6 at Aqueduct on Sunday. Tomorrow, the jackpot carryover, $66,940. Go to naira.com/Empire6 to get involved in that mandatory payout opportunity. All right, of these 3 preps that we saw this afternoon, who impressed you the most?
Authentic, no question about it. Loved what I saw in him. I think he's going to move forward once again, as I've said the whole show since they crossed the finish line. I'm on that bandwagon right now. Still can't wait to see Tiz the Law run, though.
I'm going to piggyback the Hall of Famer here. I agree. I thought Authentic was phenomenal today. Just proving that he can grow up a little bit. And then we'll see what happens with the next start and then see what happens on the first Saturday of May.
And we're going to get to see another undefeated Baffert likely next week in the Rebel. This was a surprise. King Guillermo getting back on dirt and shocking everybody in the Tampa Bay Derby at 49-1. Meanwhile, mischievous Alex, he's added blinkers and he has been on a roll. Can he continue to get more and more ground for John Service and Authentic? He remains perfect. The earplugs helped in the San Felipe. We'll see you next week.
Catholic Boy, one of only 3 American 3-year-old colts in history to win Grade 1s on both dirt and turf, including the immortal Secretariat. A graded stakes winner at 2, 3, and 4, from coast to coast, from 7.5 furlongs to 1.25 miles. In 2018, the fastest 3-year-old in the country over 10 furlongs by internationally successful sire More Than Ready, Catholic Boy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path. Ground Baffert inside. Race. A quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 yards out. Last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Coming on strong.
Minute to stardom. On top, coming down to the final 16th, opening up a 2-length lead.
My love for you.
Wild About Star, shining big here in very one.
Oh, why did I wrong?
Testing, 1, 2. The star guitar filly leads Champagne Diva close to home. It's testing, 1, 2.
Feel my love for you. Coming on strong.